It was a typical Tuesday at the clinic. The kind of day when the coffee machine is your best friend and the clock seems to drag on endlessly. As a psychologist, my work involves helping people carry emotional burdens heavier than a truckload of bricks. It's a challenging job, but incredibly fulfilling. Then Jake entered the room, his father by his side, looking like he'd been through a rough patch. "Hey, I really need some help. It's like navigating a maze, and my dad really needs to see the doctor right away," Jake said, his voice tinged with concern, though he tried to keep his composure. "Of course," I said, putting my coffee down. "Follow me." As we walked, Jake kept thanking me as if I were doing him a huge favor. "I really appreciate this. Dad's been struggling, and I'm just trying to keep everything together." I nodded, offering reassurance. "You're doing great. It's tough, but you don't have to face it alone." His surprised and relieved expression told me that support wasn't something he was used to receiving. We reached the doctor's office, and I assured him they were in good hands. "Thanks. Call me Alex," he said. "Appreciate it, Alex. I owe you one. Let me buy you coffee sometime," Jake offered, scratching his neck awkwardly. I chuckled. "Sure, but I'm pretty picky when it comes to coffee." "Challenge accepted," he grinned. Just like that, we clicked. We started hanging out, first coffee, then movies and the occasional dinner. With him, everything felt effortless. It was like I didn't have to pretend to be anyone else. Jake was all about keeping things real. He worked in his family's laundry business, nothing glamorous, but he took pride in it. Our casual hangouts slowly turned into something more. Jake's straightforwardness was a breath of fresh air, especially given that my job usually involves reading between the lines. "Alex, I've been thinking," Jake said one evening as we finished up at a burger joint. "We're good together. Like really good." I smirked, sipping my milkshake. "Took you long enough to figure that out." He laughed. "So what do you say? Let's make this a regular thing." "Jake, I thought you'd never ask." "Yes. Let's see where this crazy ride takes us," I teased, nudging him. A year passed, and things got serious fast. We were inseparable, dreaming big and laughing through it all. One chilly evening, we sat on our favorite bench by the river. That's when Jake, in his usual straightforward style, asked me the big question. "So, Alex, how about we make this official? You, me, a couple of kids running around." I laughed. "Kids, huh? You sure you're ready for that?" "With you? I take on a zoo," he replied, grinning. I paused, gazing at the water. "Yes, Jake, let's dive into that zoo together." Choosing to marry Jake was easy. Living through it, that was a different story. We opted for a small, intimate wedding and began planning for the future, a big family. Jake was all in, and we worked hard, saving up for a house. But then came the storm, and it came from his mom, Mrs. Peterson. The Petersons owned a local laundry and dry cleaning business. After our wedding, Mrs. Peterson, with her usual dramatic flair, made an offer. "Why don't you two move in with us? It'll save you money, and you can help out with the business," she suggested, almost demanding it. Jake and I exchanged a look. We had already discussed this. "Thanks, Mrs. P, but we're comfortable where we are. My job's on the other side of town," I explained. Mrs. Peterson wasn't having it. "Nonsense. Alex can quit her job. We need her in the family business." It's time she started pulling her weight. Her eyes locked onto mine like a hawk. I stayed calm. "I really respect the laundry business, but I'm a psychologist. I can't just leave that behind." It was like talking to a brick wall. Mrs. Peterson's disapproval grew sharper by the day, and Jake tried to mediate, but the tension was palpable. We loved each other, but her family business kept tugging at us in ways we didn't want. Just when we thought things were under control, Jake's father's health took a downturn, and he passed away. Jake took it hard. He was very close to his dad, and Mrs. Peterson, well, she was falling apart, clinging to Jake for everything. That's when the real challenge began. "Alex, babe, we need to talk. It's about my mom." I recognized that tone. "What's going on? Is she okay?" He ran a hand through his hair, stressed. "Not really. She's struggling, and I'm worried about leaving her alone." I sat down, bracing myself. "You want us to move in with her, don't you?" Jake nodded, looking guilty. "I don't see any other way." The thought of living with Mrs. Peterson, with her constant criticisms and her my way or the highway attitude, made me anxious. But when I saw the desperation in Jake's eyes, I knew I had to be there for him. "Look, Jake, I'm not going to lie. The idea of living with your mom scares me, but I understand. Family is family. We'll make it work. He squeezed my hand, relieved. Thanks, Alex. I promise we'll get through this. Moving in was tough. Mrs. Peterson had an opinion on everything, from how I dressed to how I cooked. It felt like walking on eggshells every day. One evening, after a long day at the clinic, I came home to find Mrs. Peterson in full critique mode. That's not how you fold the towels, Alex. And dinner, well, I suppose it'll do. I gritted my teeth, counting to 10. Mrs. Peterson, I'm doing my best. Maybe you could show me how you'd like things done. She huffed. Well, if I have to do everything myself, what's the point of you being here? Jake walked in, catching the tail end of the conversation. Mom, come on. Alex is doing her part. Can we drop it? Mrs. Peterson shot me a glare but backed off. Later that night, Jake and I had a heart-to-heart. Alex, I know this is hard. I see it, and I'm sorry, but we're in this together, okay? We'll figure it out. I nodded, drained. Together, but Jake, something's got to give. I can't keep doing this with your mom. It feels like she's always out to get me. He squeezed my hand. We'll figure it out, babe. We always do. 6 months in, I had reached my breaking point. Every day felt like the same old routine of complaints from Jake and his mom. No matter how hard I tried, it was never enough. So I figured maybe if I wasn't around as much, they'd find someone else to criticize. I cut back my hours at the clinic to part-time and picked up shifts at the laundry. Jake seemed okay with it, even saying it was a smart move. But then he told me he wouldn't pay me for the work. Let's keep it simple, no need for taxes or anything, he said. You can just use the family account when you need to. Something felt off, but I let it slide. I was more focused on easing the tension at home than on the money. I'd work at the clinic in the mornings, then spend my afternoons buried in laundry. Jake said it would be a win-win, but I wasn't convinced. I was doing it for peace at home and a chance to get involved with the family business. I threw myself into the laundry, trying to improve things. I started seeing ways we could bring in more customers, but when I suggested them to Jake, he shut me down. I've been in this business since I was a kid, he scoffed. What do you know about running a laundry? I was crushed. Then I started noticing things weren't adding up. Fewer customers, more complaints. It felt like everything was falling apart. I tried talking to his mom, hoping she'd understand. I even found a perfect spot next door for expansion, but it didn't matter. Jake was her golden boy, and I was just the outsider. I wasn't ready to give up. I gathered evidence, graphs showing the drop in income, screenshots of bad reviews. I even had complaints about high prices and missing clothes. I confronted Jake with it all. Look at this, I said, sliding the papers toward him. We're losing money, and people are talking. We need to change things, or we're going under. He barely glanced at it. You're clueless. This is my thing. A few bad reviews don't mean anything. His words stung, but it wasn't just about the business anymore. It was about respect, and it felt like I was fighting a losing battle. I kept pushing, trying to make him see reason, but every time he shut me down with just focus on the work. Leave the thinking to me. The tipping point came when Mrs. Peterson accused me of sabotaging the business. I'm just trying to help, I protested, but it didn't matter. Jake stood by silent. It was clear where his loyalties lay. I reached my breaking point after months of trying to juggle the clinic and the laundry, enduring constant digs from Jake and his mom. It wasn't one big thing that broke me, but 1,000 little cuts. Then came my birthday, a day I hoped would offer some relief. I left a note for Jake. Out for the morning, back soon. I treated myself to a new dress and went to the salon, my day, or so I thought. When I came back, the storm had already gathered. Jake and his mom were waiting for me, their faces angry. Where the hell have you been? Jake snapped as soon as I walked in. The laundry's a mess and there's no breakfast. I froze. But it's my birthday. Mrs. Peterson jumped in, her voice sharp. Your birthday? You think that's an excuse to slack off? We needed you here. You're just lazy and clueless. I couldn't believe it. No happy birthday. Nothing. I looked at Jake, hoping for some support, but he wouldn't meet my eye. Mom's right, Alex. We can't have you disappearing whenever you feel like it. That was it. All the patience, all the effort, it just crumbled. You know what? I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce, I said, and the words felt like acid in my mouth. Mrs. Peterson actually clapped her hands. "Finally, we're getting rid of her," she said with a cruel smile. "You'll be paying for your stay here for the past 3 years." I laughed, but it was more of disbelief than anything else. "Actually, I think it's you who owes me for all the unpaid work, the holidays, the sick days. Let's see how that adds up." Her face fell. The room went silent, thick with tension. Jake looked between us, lost. The conversation spiraled into accusations and old grievances. It was painful, raw. All the ways we had failed each other came out into the open. "I bent over backwards for this family, for this business, and this is the thanks I get," I shouted. "And what about me? What about what I've given up?" Jake shot back, regret flashing in his eyes. "We're talking past each other, Jake. I don't even recognize us anymore," I replied, the fight draining from me. We weren't even in the same book, let alone on the same page. I walked away from Jake and his mom, my heart heavy but resolute. Beneath all the pain, there was a small spark of something. Hope? Maybe, or maybe it was just spite. Either way, it was enough to get me moving. I found a small apartment, not much, but it was mine. The silence was deafening at first, a sharp contrast to the constant bickering I'd been used to. But I filled that silence with plans, with dreams, with hope for something better, something just for me. I was slouched on a second-hand sofa, surrounded by a sea of unpacked boxes, when Liz showed up. Her eyes scanned the chaos, papers everywhere, my laptop open with an overwhelming number of tabs. "What's all this?" Liz asked, picking up a stack of business loan documents. "I'm starting a laundry business," I answered, trying to reassure myself more than her. Liz let out a low whistle. "That's brave, Alex, taking on Jake and his mom." I nodded, feeling the fire build inside me. "Yeah, they think they're rid of me, but I'm just getting started. Found a place right next door to theirs. Perfect location." "Isn't that a little bold?" she asked, clearly concerned. "Bold is exactly what I need," I replied, the words spilling out. "I've got good ideas. I know I can make it work." Liz smiled, nodding. "All right then, you need a solid plan and probably a drink. I'll grab the wine, you brainstorm." We set to work, drafting everything from hours of operation to the services I'd offer, making sure my laundry would stand out. I wanted more than just a place to clean clothes. I wanted it to feel like a community hub with a personal touch. "You should offer something they don't have," Liz suggested, sipping her wine. "Maybe a loyalty program or a guarantee on lost items." "That's brilliant," I said. "I could set up a kids' play area, even a little cafe corner. Make it a spot people actually want to be." We worked well into the night, fueled by wine and excitement. By morning, I had more than just a business plan. I had a chance to prove myself, to show them and myself that I was more than they ever thought after the divorce. I rented the vacant space next to Jake's laundry. It was a disaster, but it had potential. I threw everything I had into fixing it, state-of-the-art washers, top-tier cleaning products. Slowly, it came together, and I opened the doors, torn between anxiety and hope. At first, there was hardly any business. People kept going to Jake's, sticking to what they knew, but I wasn't ready to give up. I made my place welcoming, coffee for the adults, a play area for the kids, even arcade games for fun. I kept it open 24/7, installed security cameras, and treated every garment with care. "I promise you'll get the best service here," I tell anyone who walked in. "Not satisfied with your wash? It's free, but I guarantee you'll come back once you see the results." Word got out. Reviews shifted from skeptical to glowing. "Never seen my whites this bright," one customer wrote. "The coffee is a nice touch," said another. "Love the kids area," someone else commented. Before long, my laundry was packed. It wasn't just about clean clothes, it was a community. People didn't just come to wash, they came to chat, relax with a coffee, or take a break. It was more than a business, it was a place they looked forward to visiting. The success felt incredible. But what really mattered was that I had done it my way, through hard work and honesty. Jake and his mom could stick to their outdated methods. I was moving forward, one happy customer at a time. Then came the storm. Jake and his mom burst into my laundry, and Jake wasted no time. "You've got some nerve, Alex, taking our customers with your cheap prices and fancy perks. What's your angle?" I stayed calm. I learned how to be powerful by staying composed. Angle? There's no angle, Jake. Just good business. I'm giving people what they want. Can you say the same? His mom, always ready to stir trouble, jumped in. You're a thief and a liar. You've made us look bad, stealing our customers. This is personal. I leaned against the counter. Mrs. Peterson, let's get this straight. I haven't stolen anything. People come here because they're tired of your neglect. That's all. Jake's face reddened, his anger mixed with something else. Maybe he realized something. We're here to tell you to back off. You're messing with our livelihood, he said, almost laughing. Back off? I scoffed. You practically kicked me out. I built this place from scratch, without stepping on anyone's toes. You made it a battle, not me. I glanced at the security cameras. And I'm not tolerating threats. Everything's being recorded. His mom, unfazed, snapped, You've ruined us. Where do you get off destroying our family business? I pulled out my phone and showed them the negative reviews their place had received. Destroying? No, people made their choice based on their experience. Dirty rooms, rude service, and overpriced subpar work. Jake looked torn between his loyalty to his family and the truth in my words. We were fine before you started this, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I echoed. Jake, I just filled a gap you left wide open. I tried to help, but you two made me the villain. The room went quiet, the weight of it all hanging in the air. Mrs. Peterson, in a last-ditch effort, changed tactics. Fine, if you're so successful, hire us. Our laundry is dying. We're drowning in debt. I laughed dryly. After everything? No thanks. You two need to go. My customers don't need that kind of drama. They knew they lost. Their shoulders slumped as they turned to leave. Jake lingered at the door, regret and resignation in his eyes. This isn't over, Alex, he muttered, but it lacked any conviction. For me, it was over. I had built something from the ground up, a place where people could find joy and cleanliness. As they walked out, I turned back to my bustling laundry, a small smile creeping onto my face. That chapter was closed, and I was already looking ahead to what came next. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay stunned.